Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need to adopt tonight's agenda.
I move that we adopt the agenda for tonight.
Sorry. Sorry. Additions and deletions. I'd like to add an executive session at the end of the meeting to discuss the performance of an employee.
Okay.
I move that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And approve the minutes of the May 14th, 2018 work study.
I move that we approve the minutes from the May 14th, 2018 work study.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to action items.
Yep. First action item is a WIAA annual school board resolution. This allows the district to be part of the WIAA middle school and high school athletic activities. And so this is a resolution that WIAA asks boards to approve each year, and it identifies the sports that we're going to be involved in and those kinds of things for the next school year. So I would approve resolution 18-5-2.
Should we do these one at a time?
Sure.
I move that we approve resolution 18-5-2 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the middle school re-roof project, the inspection contract, you asked at the last board meeting that I bring Weatherholt's inspection contract or proposal to the board, and it's in the agenda. It specifies not to exceed amount of $37,500.
Yeah.
$500. Weatherholt has done a number of projects for the district back as far as 2015. And they've been a good resource for us as far as evaluating our roof conditions as well as inspecting for us on roof projects where we have contractors come in. Weatherholt is not affiliated with any manufacturer or any roofing contractor, and so they provide an objective review of our projects. And I have on your table there two samples of reports that they did for us back in 2015 when we were doing the re-roof of the high school. And they were out 6 different times unannounced, and they reviewed the specifications to make sure the contractor is living up to the contract specifications and any other details. I think you'll note in a couple of these reports that they checked, for example, at the high school, they checked the nailing pattern and the number of nails that were supposed to be put in each roof tab, and then they comment on anything that they see that they need to have the contractor change or do differently. The contract is for up to 2% of the base value of the roofing project, and that was the same percentage on the high school re-roofing project. And for example, I think to show that they charge us only what for the services they provide, when they did the specifications for the high school roof project back in 2015, the contract for designing the project was $4,250. They charged us $3,850. And for the inspection on the high school roof, the contract was for $12,450, and the total cost charged to the district was $10,209. So it just shows that they only charge for what services they provide to us. So I would recommend the Weatherholt proposal for roof inspection services.
I move that we approve the Weatherholt and Associates proposal for the roof project.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Lucy came in little bit after we started, and she has some other things about school safety.
Hi again, everybody. I just wanted to kind of respond to a couple of things that came up at the last meeting where you talked about the 4 potential projects. 2 of them moved forward, the Say Something, Do Something, additional comprehensive mental health, and 2 were tabled, I believe tabled and not necessarily declined, which was the school resource officer and the security vestibules. I brought a bunch of information to the March 14th, I believe it was, school board meeting, and some of those were suggestions on how to do things, information about how other schools have been dealing with this, including, the door locks and classroom safety in particular, which I think was brought up at the last meeting, of looking into locking the doors rather than locking the outdoors. 8 ways to improve school entrance security. I had a specific conversation with Darren Higashiyama about the school vestibules, and of course nothing is fail-safe. Everybody has a way to get around something, but it is there are these steps that you can take to ensure that steps are being taken and that that we're doing our best. You can't have 100% solution. One thing that came up was the small town feel, and I think more, is it a school or is it a prison kind of a discussion. But I'll tell you that when our city staff in Clallam asked the mayor and the administrator several times to upgrade security, that same thing came up. The small town feel. We don't want to lose that small town feel at City Hall. And my argument back is, no one's going to care about the small town feel when a big city gun is pointed at your head. And this is real stuff, and it's real stuff in Clallam. There are threats that are made. There are weapons that are available if someone's mad at you. City Hall is a little bit different operation than a school, but there's a whole bunch of beings and a lot of energy, and a lot of them have access, easy access to guns, as we found out recently. But on a regular basis. We're Eastern Washington. I mean, you hear the stories of people with their guns in their gun racks and leaving them there while they're in school all day and then going hunting after school. Those same families are here, those same people are here, and more people. And we all know where to find a weapon. And so, anything that the school can do to not only alleviate fears from the community and the students themselves, but to take these steps. More cameras is great, but who's watching the cameras? I know that I have a student in the high school, and he says that, and I've seen that in the couple of times I've been there, there's nobody just sitting there watching the cameras. Same for the city. I'll use that again as another parallel. We're not watching the cameras, monitoring, waiting for something to happen. We're using them as a recording device after something happens. So adding a camera is going to help document if something happens, but it's certainly not going to help you unless someone is watching it. So with the camera has to come this dedicated staff person to watch the cameras if you're using that as something that's a preventative measure. Otherwise, it's just a recording to get whoever it is on camera and to record the event. And the number of events that are happening every day in the United States, a lot of the kids feel that it's inevitable. And it breaks my heart that kids feel that way, that it's inevitable. That's just going to happen to us. At some point, while we're in school, this is going to happen. Another of the articles was these turning the tables. Local schools talk to adults about school safety. Kids from our schools and all the Ellensburg schools, they got together and they talked to principals, administrators, security people about what they think would work in the school. One of the things that's mentioned in the article is a school safety officer. It's another thing. It's not going to prevent every single thing, but gosh, if you had somebody watching the cameras and they could easily get on the radio and communicate to the on-campus police officer, that would go a long way to stop something from getting any further. Or to prevent kids who might not think that it's a good idea to bring a gun to school or to outright do something like this when you have an officer on campus. So although those things might seem extreme, although those things like the safety vestibules and an officer on campus might seem over the top, it's certainly not over the top when you're talking about the lives of 900 students. It's not. And I'm speaking on behalf of my friends that have been here with me in the past, who were not able to be here. So I'm just asking that you look back at some of that information, look back at the budget and the recommendations that have been made, what other people are doing, and maybe look at the schools that are having these major incidents happen and what could they have done differently. Because, you know, the see something, say something, or say something, do something, and additional comprehensive mental health, while preventative, is certainly not at the level that I as a parent or community member would hope to see when it has been discussed on the table. And in closing, my son, when I was talking to him earlier about it, how do you feel about school and how do you feel about this safety or that? And he said, well, you only need a seatbelt. You don't need a seatbelt until you need it. That was my 16-year-old's comment on this. And that he doesn't know of any of his friends who would care if there was a metal detector. They would feel better. Or if there was a school safety officer, he would feel better. Or if, you know, and this is a kid who doesn't want anybody in his business, because he's 16. But these are things that all sounded like a good idea to a 16-year-old boy who has to go to that school, who is in high school, who has probably a higher probability of something happening there than maybe in the 3rd grade wing, although, you know. So I just wanted to put it out there again that, you know, what was kind of pushed off for maybe research later, we'd really like to hear more about those things moving forward. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, consent agenda items, personnel, and consent agenda you can approve in one motion. There's hirings for the high school head varsity volleyball coach, Patricia Garris, assistant high school football coach, Nathaniel Wallace, assistant middle school softball coach, Sarah Reed, and then the summer program for special services, ESY teacher, Allie Gray, ESY paras, Crystal, Lily, and Paul, Title I teachers, Melissa Clark, Jeremy Medvid, Rita Kretschmann, and Title I paras, Monique. There's a leave of absence, Barb Seemeyer, high school para. She's asking for a 1-year leave of absence beginning in September. And Michaela Storer requesting maternity leave for 1st semester. Retiring, Rick Jennings, bus driver. And included with your board agenda was a hiring list of staff that we're recommending for hire for the 2018-19 school year. Fiscal?
The enrollment report is attached on the agenda there. The enrollment is down slightly. We had the ALE program, it looks like, lost 5 students between February and May. So that brought the enrollment report down. There are 895.15 average FTEs for this year so far in K-12. In May, the count was 895.2. There were a couple of 12th graders that left. One moved, and another, I think, was in a detention center. So there were 2 down there. The ALE, the ALE program had dropped 5 students between February and May. And the special ed count is up to 141 this month, which is the same as April.
The ALE, sometimes kids don't meet their contractual obligations. Jared, each ALE student has a contract and they're supposed to either meet certain goals such as either assignments or contact time at school. And sometimes those kids don't meet their contractual obligation, and so they are dropped from the enrollment, and oftentimes many of those kids come back at a later time when they're ready to kind of resume and get serious about their work. On the special ed side, we do have, I think, 5 kids, Carrie Ann was mentioning, are moving out of the district. 2 students left last Thursday, so we will in the June count see a little bit of a reduction on the special ed side, and that may affect some para hirings for next school year. So anyway, those are just some updates on ALE, or information about ALE and some updates on the special ed enrollment.
What does ALE stand for again?
Alternative Learning Experience. So it's our Swiftwater program. Anything else on enrollment?
No. The budget status reports for April are there for all the funds. The general fund currently has net cash and investments of $3,190,736.86. The capital projects fund has net cash and investments currently of $2,256,231.41. The debt service fund has net cash and investments currently of $363,087.64. The ASB fund has net cash and investments of $140,398.07. And the transportation vehicle fund has net cash and investments of $211,875.29. Any questions? The accounts payable, you'll see payroll, there were 2 payrolls. The April payroll was because of a glitch in the accounting system at the ESD. It wasn't on the agenda for the April meeting, so it's on the agenda this month. In April, it was $764,337.52. The May payroll was $776,562.75. Accounts payable in the general fund were $198,569.08. Accounts payable for ASB, $8,891.52. Capital projects accounts payable, $42,524.68. And the private purpose trust fund payables are $55.
Any questions on the consent agenda?
No, thank you. I'm good.
One of the things we're watching as we get into the last 3 months of school is Frida and I are watching revenues and expenditures to see what our ending cash will be, as well as to make sure our appropriations level we stay below the appropriations level approved by the board with our budget extension that we did in, was it February or March?
March.
Just off the top of your head, what's the big expense we had in April over the last couple of years?
Are you looking at the graph?
Yeah.
Yes. We had our utility bill and credit card payments that are generally made at the end of each month. Again, because of the glitch in the system, it was deferred until May. So you'll see it was deferred until April. And so you'll see that jump.
We also purchased the van,
Right.
the new van,
Okay.
which is roughly $40,000.
That makes up
Yeah.
the bulk of it right there, thank you.
And that caught my eye too.
Perfect, thank you so much.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Bus bid results, we had 4 bidders on our surplus buses, and we got some great bids. Rosa was really happy. Bus number 1, or one of our buses, I forget which one it is, which district number it was sold to an Easton resident for $1,111.11.
Interesting number.
Yeah.
Great deal.
And the second bus was sold to Tom Ballard from Ronald for $1,620. So the value of those two surplus buses paid for the surplus wheelchair bus that we purchased. So Rosa was pleased. So just want to let you know how those results came out. First aid training, we have a good, with our Anne-Marie and Andrea Hill getting training to do first aid training. We have 3 dates, 3 sessions scheduled at the end of the school year, June 14th and June 18th. And I think we have almost a full slate of people, teachers, coaches, classified people who need and who we would like to have first aid training for signed up. So each session can accommodate 25 staff. And I know the morning of the June 14th is filled, and the 14th afternoon is nearly filled. And then we have a number of people scheduled for Monday, June 18th. So it's really great to have people on staff that can provide first aid training for our staff. We'll do some coaches and some other staff who weren't able to participate in June. We'll hold a training in August just before school starts to catch people that need it before the beginning of the new school year.
Is there any requirement for the teachers to have the first aid CPR?
Coaches and vocational teachers and school secretaries. Then we like to have as many classroom teachers. Bus drivers have to have first aid training, and we try to get as many classroom teachers and para staff who work with, especially those who work with special needs students, to have them first aid trained with CPR, AED, and those kind of things. One of the things Anne-Marie and Andrea can teach is pediatrics first aid. So our staff will get pediatrics first aid, regular first aid training, and CPR, AED training all in one session.
Does the school have an AED?
Mm-hmm.
More than one, or just one on campus?
Each of our buildings have an AED machine, and I think our gyms have AEDs also. And those have been supplied by the fire department or the fire district. So anyway, that's good news. It's nice to have somebody on, because at times it's difficult to schedule first aid training with an outside provider. So it was great to have these 2 people trained. A couple of other comments. Graduation, just a reminder, June 5th, Tuesday, June 5th is Swiftwater graduation, and then Saturday the 9th, I think it is high school graduation.
What are the times for those? Do you know off the
I'll
top of
have
your head?
to email it
That
out
way,
to you.
it's in here. I saw it, I just wondered if you knew off the top of your head.
Usually it's 1 o'clock, isn't it?
Saturday's 1. I don't
1
know,
o'clock.
Swiftwater, Western, like 4?
No,
5?
is it 5?
It's in the
5 or
evening,
6
because
or
they have a
something.
dinner following the graduation event.
Don't ask me, it was late last time.
I actually saw it in here somewhere.
Because you're passing out the diplomas.
Not this year.
Guard's going to serve as the board representative at Swiftwater, and Richard will serve as the diploma hander-outer at the high school.
Even for your daughter.
Yeah.
Any board comments?
I just wanted to say, I went to the Celebration of Learning last week, and it was really well done. Everything from the hot dogs in the high school gym to seeing the progress on the little house and the exhibits that were out, talking to the kids, seeing the high school kids with their projects. It was really nicely done and pretty well attended, I thought, too. So, yeah.
Seemed well attended. We're going to put out a SurveyMonkey survey to see how people thought about the new format and if there's anything that they would like to see us do differently or in addition to what we typically do at Celebration of Learning.
You need traffic control in the hallways?
Have one-way hallways.
No, you just, you like arrows on the carpet, I don't know, man. Boy, there were a lot of people in the elementary school, middle school.
There were a lot of people, and that's a great thing.
It's a good
It was great.
It's a good problem to have.
It was great.
Okay, that's all I have.
Swiftwater graduation's at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Wednesday night is the middle school band and choir concert at 7 o'clock.
Okay, there's a high school concert too, isn't there, on Thursday?
Thursday is baccalaureate and scholarship night.
Oh, next week.
Baccalaureate, this was for the week of June, talking about
Okay.
what's happening that whole week.
On Thursday, the scholarship thing is Thursday or Friday?
Thursday is baccalaureate at 6 and scholarship happens at 7. And then graduation's at 2 o'clock on Saturday for high school.
Yeah, there is a concert this week.
Do we have a rough cost on vestibules for the schools?
About $88,000, roughly $90,000
For
all three.
For all three.
For all three buildings.
That's the budget number I was given.
And yes, there's a high school concert this week, Thursday,
At the high
at 7
school.
at the high school.
If there's nothing else, if you'd like to recess into executive session for the evaluation of performance of an employee for about 20 minutes, that should be adequate. No action followed.
Thank you, Missy. Thank you.
I move that we move to executive session.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.